Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're answering back and saying yes, yeah, we're doing fine, thanks Jo. Everything's going okay. But you know what? I thought it was time we needed another little catch up. Time to just sit in our craft rooms together, put that kettle on, grab a brew. It's a bit chilly here, so I need a brew today. Might go for hot chocolate for a change. Now, you might be in Australia, New Zealand, it might be warm where you are, so maybe you're going to go for maybe an iced latte. Well, whatever you fancy, you grab that drink and pull up a chair and let's have some catch-up time together. Today, I thought we'd revisit an old technique. I must admit, I love revisiting old techniques because, to be fair, we have so many techniques, we forget them, and they're a bit like clothes, you know, they do come round again. And often, if maybe I'm not sure what to do, you know, if I just come in my craft room and don't know where to start, I tend to just revisit one of those old techniques. And this one has been around for absolute years and years, and there's no point me crediting anybody because just about we've all done it at some point. But one of the reasons I like to revisit is often we have new crafters joining us, and it is lovely, and welcome to the family. And when you start off, you know, you're like a sponge, aren't you? And you just want to take in all those techniques, and sometimes you miss some of them. So this might be new to you, or it might just be one of those ones that you did a few years ago and you forgot about. Whichever way, it's just fun to revisit. And we're just going to use our acrylic block to do a bit of stamping. Now, me being me, what I will show you is this is the general way that we use one acrylic block and just do our ink on it. But me being me, wanted to just change it up a bit, and I've gone for, I have a lovely small, got this from Lavinia, acrylic block, and so I've gone for a 3, a nice little, almost like a triptych type thing. So again, just that's what happens when you start playing. Now, I must admit, the main reason for doing this is when I order things from Tracy at Lavinia, I tend to look for sentiments I've not seen and I don't see many people using, and I ordered them. I love sentiments, and I went for this one, and it's called Fairy Dust is Like Love. And it actually says, fairy dust is like love. It creates magic whenever you give it away. Now, I've got a special friend at the minute who just needs a bit of magic. So what I've done is I have filled one of these lovely little bottles that I've got with some of my Eco glitters. And I just used one of these lovely little coffee stirrers that you get when you go and buy one of those specific coffees. Sorry, excuse me. And look, so I'm going to send her this fairy dust, like some love, to sprinkle magic on her, and I'm just going to attach it with my card, look. So that's the premise. That's why I always like to tell you, explain to you why I'm doing what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off. I've got 2 pieces of card, so we'll make both backgrounds. Now, these are the multifarious card because I'm going to be adding water. So I know it will take the water well. And we'll do our larger one first. And you can use any acrylic block. You can use the new slim acrylic blocks. But I'm just going for a thicker one because for me, I find it easier to handle. What I've got to be careful of, though, is I've put my name on my blocks and I've glass etched it in. So I need to make sure I don't use that side, otherwise I'll get that. So if any of you got the ones with the fairy etched in, that gives a lovely, absolutely gorgeous impression. Now we're going to use our Elements ink pads. You can use any dye-based ink pad. So I'm going for the Elements. And for this one, I'm going to use 2 colours. And we're going to go for Della Blue and Bermuda. So in my head, I'm just going to put some Bermuda along the bottom. I'm almost going for that sort of landscape and sky. And they're not going to quite touch. I don't want to contaminate my ink pads. And I'm just sort of doing it in a random fashion. And then I'm going to get my water spritzer and I'm going to spritz them. And I'll just do that off camera. So I've just spritzed it 3 times. And Eric is laid on the floor, so he's just had a nice shower. And then I'm just going to line this up. So sorry if my head comes over. And I'm just going to pop it down, look, line it up where I want it. Now this is the fun part for me, because this is where I become like a child again. Now, if you press it, you get a total different. Can you see how as the water starts to, it moves around, and what you can do is lift your block up, look, and almost alter the shape. And so depending how you move and how you manipulate it. Now I'm going to lift mine up because I actually like that. And I'm just going to dry that with my Inky Binky. Now I find these are best left to dry naturally. But if you didn't like that dark spot there, you could just soak it up with some kitchen towel. I like that. I think that'll dry beautifully. So I'm going to put that to one side. You know what I'm like, everything goes on one side. But believe you me, if you saw my craft room, we have got so many one sides. Oh, I am sorry, the old voice is playing up again, kids. So actually, I'm going to file this on the floor. Better not stand on it though, had I? We do that so many times, don't we? So now I'm going to come in with my little block. And I just thought I'd add into this the lovely violet chalk. So I'm going to start with my central, just because for me it's good to work in the middle and work your way out. So it's the same thing. Look, I've added some ink, and I'm just going to give this one spritz. And I'm going to take this, and I want it quite near the top, but almost in the middle. And again, I'm going to pop it down, look. But again, I can play, look. It is fun, this, honestly, look. I mean, is it just me? And honestly, it won't come across on the video, but please have a go at this. And you know what, if you're feeling a bit fed up or a bit down, honestly, this is just so much fun. And you really can alter the actual way it will end up looking. So I've got my green one in the middle. So I'll come in now with the Della Blue. And again, ink that up. Give that a spritz. Eric is having plenty of showers this morning. And then we'll put this one, we'll sort of line it up. Now this one I'm just going to press down and lift straight up. And look, you get that lovely, I like that as well. And which colour haven't we used? Violet chalk. Make sure it's on the right side. So, look, you can tell how juicy these ink pads are. Spritz. And then again, try and line it up-ish. This one will go down and up. See if we can get it in the middle there. There we go. And again, just experiment with the different type of, and I do like, there's a white bit there, but I've got to be honest, I like that. And the more you'll do, the more you see that these intense dark and light areas, if we bring the finished one in, look, I just find it nice to have some light areas, some dark, and as it dries, look, especially if it dries naturally, you just get the most gorgeous effect. And what I like about this is I've got my space here for my sentiment. And again, remember, use your acetate. So look, you could put your sentiment there. And it's lots, if you've got a larger sentiment, I mean, look at that. That looks lovely just there. I mean, for me, I would have an afternoon and make so many of these. Alter the colours, alter the shapes, alter how many you put on. And then you've got lots of backgrounds ready for when you need those cards. Because believe you me, we're soon going to be into that, dare I say, Valentine's, Easter, spring. Now, I've let mine dry naturally. So, in the good old TV fashion, we've got two here that I created yesterday and they've dried. And look at those. I mean, just fantastic backgrounds. And I've put a black Sharpie line round because you don't want to see me doing that, do you? So let's do this one first with our Quinn. And Quinn is here. She's a gorgeous fairy stamp, and I just think she will look lovely. You see, because I got the green and the blue, I can make her just, she's got perfect place to sit. Now again, you must have so many of your lovely Lavinia stamps that can go on these backgrounds. I mean, if you want a mail card, I did this ones with browns and reds and added the dragons. And that was beautiful because the effect, it really looks like that almost stormy sky. So again, great for men's cards. As I say, for me, it's a lovely time to maybe sort out your Lavinia stamps. January, we like a bit of a sort out, don't we? So as we're getting near that time for doing that, well, it's a bit early for spring cleaning. To be fair, I never get round to spring cleaning anyway. It doesn't matter what time it is. Right, so I'm just going to put her there. Now, she's a silhouette stamp. And because I'm going on an area that's got a lot of ink on, and again, these are a dye-based ink, but they've got lots of pigment in the elements. So if it doesn't stamp perfectly, not to worry, we've got remedies around that. And the reason I'm saying that is because often when I'm doing cards, I do my stamping first and then add my background. And the reason I do that is because often a highly pigmented, a highly coloured ink is notoriously difficult to stamp on. It's like when you use these spray backgrounds, when you put lots of ink on the card, your image will not stamp as perfectly, and that's no fault of the stamp, it's no fault of the ink you're using, it's just that your card has got a lot of pigment in it already. So when it tries to absorb the ink, it's almost full with the pigment from the first layer you've put on. So saying that, look at that, she's stamped beautifully. We have got a tiny area here, and I'm being very picky, a tiny area. So what we could do for that is I could get a paintbrush and paint some of my VersaFine Clair over the top of it. But I find it easier just to get an aquarellable pencil and just add a little bit, but it is just a minute tiny bit. But I've got to be honest, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to leave that. But as I say, don't worry if it wasn't quite perfect. There are lots of ways you can do. You can use your permanent pen, but again, I would almost do pointillism, dab the areas rather than sort of colouring lines. Now, what we're going to do is, she needs some lovely dust, doesn't she? Some lovely glitter. This fairy dust that's love. So for that, we're going to use a lovely stamp from the mini range, which is called Stars 1. She says as she merrily looks around, okay, where did I put that acrylic block? Oh, there we go. See, I need you here to help me. You know what it's like, you put things down. Now this, I could stamp in a different colour if I wanted. I'm going for black, just because I just want to have almost like my three elements. I want to stamp my sentiment in black, my lovely fairy, and then these stars. And I think we'll almost put it coming out of her hand, going that way. And then let's just change direction and go that way. I don't want it in one almost contrived line. Now again, if you wanted, you could do first and second generation. We'll just come off the page there. So we've got a bit of a flow there. And we'll stamp our sentiment. So again, when it comes to the sentiment, as I was saying, use your acetate. So let me have a look. That. No, I've got to be honest, I like it in the middle. But again, use your sentiment and just decide. But if you haven't checked the sentiments out on the website, do have a look. There's the most gorgeous sentiments. And this one, as I say, is just perfect for the lady in mind. Oh, yeah. Again, my VersaFine Clay, it's a slow drying ink, so I want to block that. Just so I don't smudge it. And then let's just put some grounding on for Quinn. She doesn't want to be floating. I know she's a fairy and she can, but let's just get one of the landscape masks. And we'll go back with our Bermuda. And where's my green stencil brush? Let's pop that out of the way. And let's just have a look if we can. Oh, that's a nice shape, just catches her feet. So into my ink, as always, onto my craft mat. And let's just give a little bit of grounding. And being mindful, I don't want to come out of this lovely little window we've created, this lovely little area. So we'll just do that. I don't want too much. And again, lift it up and have a look. Yes. You see, that's just enough, isn't it? And it's amazing. That grounding really makes all the difference. So put the lid on that. Let's just be mindful to wipe that up and clean my landscape mask. You know me, I have to clean things as I go and then put it away, and then I know exactly where it is. How pretty is that? Now, I want to add a little bit of colour to her hair, so I'm going to come in with my Signo, my gold, and just a little bit of sparkle. And just follow, we've got the gorgeous, delicate little touch on here. Now, I want to colour her wings, so I'm going to come in with the violet chalk, just add a little bit on my mat, but I want to make it a bit sparkly, so I'm going to come in with some of my mica minerals. Now, this one's Ocean Pearl, but there are so many lovely colours, and I'm just reaching across for myself a little coffee stirrer. I use these for so many things. And then we'll put that out of the way so I don't knock it over. And then my lovely Lavinia brush, which I've got in the water, I'm going to mix that mica minerals in with my elements. And look, so I've made myself an iridescent, water-based, almost inky paint. And what we'll do is we'll just paint her wings. And again, it's like this, it's just using the products you've got, using those inks. But adding that lovely iridescent, we'll just add such a fine paintbrush this. I can just get into these. And let's add just a little bit in the middle of each of these stars. So like I was saying, I'm happy painting them black because I'm just going to add that little bit of iridescent. And what I will do is with my brush, just add a few little iridescent and just round our sentiment round here, just to give that little sparkle. And when they dry, honestly, you probably won't be able to see it yet, but the sheen you'll get off that is absolutely beautiful. I'll just clean that area, Mr. Inky Binky. And then really it's just a couple of finishing tricks. And we just want to ground our fairy. So I'm going to get my chalk pastel pencils out. And I'm going to get a dark green and a black. And just where I know we'll have a bit of shade under her bottom there, under her feet. And then it will sort of go in a bit of a shape like that, doesn't it? The shadow. And then we'll have her wings over here. And I'm just roughly doing, and her head will be there. And I'm just going to add, because it's on green, oh, I don't know what that was, something on the end of my pencil. I'm just going to add a little bit of green to the mix because my shadow will be black, but there will be green tones because it's on green. And again, I'm just going to rub that with my finger just to smudge it. I think she just needs a bit more shadow under her bottom. She's got locked down bottom, look. Been doing that thing of buying that salt powder that makes her clothes shrink. There we go. And that's just to add that little bit of detail. So some little highlights on her. I'm going to add my silver, and just where that fairy dust is going to give me a little bit of reflection. Not a lot, I don't want to over. But I have to say, for me, that's lovely. And as I say, I've got my gorgeous little bottle here that I'm going to put on here with it. And the purple colour I used for this, for the Eco Glitters, is the Fairy Tales. And I just thought the purpley colour look went beautifully with that. So that's that one finished. And I'll just quickly talk you through. So when you've got 3 windows, I mean, that's perfect. You could stamp something right across. But I've gone for the Fairy Foragers. I love the Fairy Foragers. And it's a gorgeous set of 4 fairies, look. So what I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment first. And that I'm going to stamp here directly between my 2 last windows. And then that gives me room for this lovely fairy who's kneeling, sort of crouching. And again, you can use your acetate. I've just caught the end of my block, so I just need to get rid of that. So we can put her there. And again, we'll just give her a wipe and put her back. Now, you could stamp these coming out of the frames. You could stamp parts. Do some masking off and just stamp parts of the design. But I just like the way these fit in these frames. But like I say, you could have so much fun, and it's an ideal time to get all your stamps out and have a little look at what you've got. Because I'm sure if you're anything like me, you've got some stamps at the bottom of those boxes that you've not used for ages. And this one, we'll put her coming this way. And again, the beauty of this, I'm going to bring those stars in again and give her, she's got some stars, look. Should we have a bit of second generation? I think on my original I actually used grey, I used Morning Mist. But I've gone for my black on this one. And there we go, it's just falling off the page. So we'll just ground her, seeing as she's on all 4s, look. And again, I'll come in with a little bit of green. And again, I just smudge my chalk pastel pencil. 2 reasons. 1, I think it looks better. But 2, it just fixes the pastel, because obviously pastels are powder. Let's get the white out. And we'll add a little bit of highlight. Just for me, just adds a bit more detail to the fairies. And we've got a lovely lantern here. So let's add some light. And then with our yellow pastel, and then on top of the yellow, I'm just going to bring in a bit of white and then just blend it round. So we've got a nice glow, lovely glow from that. Then I think we'll add a little bit of our Eco Glitter. So, quickie glue pen. And we'll just add a little bit of glitter on the wings and again on the centre of these stars. Again, you need a bit of glitter. And do remember, it is Eco Glitter. So it's eco-friendly. And for this one, I'm going to use Vintage Shimmer. Again, give it a shake. Now, it will stick to the ink that I've stamped. only sort of momentarily, and that's because the ink may be slightly wet, because obviously, as I say, a VersaFine Clair is a slower drying ink. So when you take it off, look, it's stuck to the fairies. It hasn't really. It's only momentarily. So what I tend to do is just take a brush and just brush it off. And I have a specific brush that I use for my glitter. And then we'll just tap its bottom. There we go. And you can just see where I've put some extra little dots. How pretty is that? And then all we do is take your piece of copy paper, fold it in the middle. And I find if I tap my pot, I'll have more room to add my glitter, because this glitter, it seems to be more and more. I'm sure there's more goes back in the pot than I actually took out. Oh, if only that happened with everything. It'd be nice if my biscuit tin was like that, wouldn't it? So there we go, just gently tap. And lid back on, because I do not want to spill that. And there we've got our 2 finished designs. So I'll try and tidy. Let's get a bit of space, and then we can have a little recap and see what we've got. So there was our main design look. We'll pop our little... I mean, I just think that's so pretty. I'm hoping you have a go at this. I'm sure you've done it before, but I'm hoping you just have a little revisit at it. And also, we've got using our little blocks with 3. I mean, think of your longer Lavinia block. How fabulous would that be? Obviously, we've got this lovely long DL block. Now, that would be gorgeous. I'm thinking the feather would look lovely on that. Now, you see, I'm going to have to go make a card using that and making a background. So I'm just going to, what I'll do, I'll just pop those 2 on for you to, just for the finishing shots. Let's try and be a bit more professional. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope it inspires you to have a little bit of a play and have a look through those stamps. See if you've got some stamps you haven't used for a while. So I'm going to spread some fairy dust on all of you, send some love out to you all. You take care, and I'll pop back soon. Bye for now.